Okay, good morning, everyone. This is the Board of Trustees' regular meeting. Excuse me, it's October 22nd, 2019 at 9 a.m. This is meeting number 2019-21. Please take the roll.
President Barry?
Here.
Trustee Vorder?
Here.
Trustee Mello?
Here.
Trustee Stalker?
Here.
Trustee Olenichek?
Here.
Trustee Desmond?
Here.
And Trustee Phelan?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Would everyone rise for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning. We have a few public commenters today. I'm going to invite Tim Gare to come. Tim, you're with Webb Chevy, I believe?
Yes, I am.
So our public comments, we have about 3 minutes, and we are just asking if you could state your name for the record and let us know if you live in the village of Oak Lawn, please.
My name is Tim Gear. I'm with Webb Chevrolet. I do not live in Oklahoma.
And
I'm here today to actually just speak really quickly about some tax changes in 2020. And there is one that is going to affect consumers and us as small business owners in the local area. And it's the trade tax law that's going to change. Does everybody know what that is?
Yes.
Yes, everyone knows what that is?
Yes.
if you could tell me, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. So, you don't know? Okay. So I want to start with that so you understand what it is, and I'll make it as quick as possible. So if you have a car that's worth $20,000 and you come to the dealership and trade it in 2020, you're only get the tax benefit of half that car. So the maximum tax benefit is $10,000. So in the state of Illinois, your tax is anywhere between 6.25, and if you live in Chicago, it's 10.25%. So you're going to lose anywhere between $625 of tax benefit, or you're going to lose up to $1,025, depending on where you live. So that tax benefit is vital to us as a small business in this area and to the consumers in this area, because that helps us take in vehicle trade-ins. It also helps the consumer save on their next purchase. In all essence, it's double taxation because they've already paid tax on that vehicle when they originally purchased it. It's going to force people in the private sector to sell their vehicles. The private sector right now equates to $840,000 transactions right now, and that's the average for the last 3 years. So what's going to happen is that's going to increase. That RUT 50 form, which I have in my hand right here, is a flat tax form. So if you have a 2018 and you sell in the private market, that consumer only pays $390 in tax. This form has not been changed since 1988, meaning that it hasn't been accrued for inflation. So when somebody gives me a problem, I like a solution. So if the state of Illinois needs money and they need to look at tax and where to find it, here it is. This is a tax loophole. If I want to sell a Porsche to somebody and it's a 2018, I pay $390 in tax if it's a $50,000 car. Doesn't make any sense, does it? So let's close the loopholes and let's make sure the consumers can get the benefit of all the tax savings they should have, and us as a small business person be able to give them that benefit and keep them in a car sold here by retail sales. And actually dealerships accrue 15% of all retail sales tax collected in the state of. So we deserve to have that customer come into us. We deserve to sell them a good car that's been through a safety inspection and has been looked at, not somebody selling it on the street, which who knows what they're buying. That's really all I got.
So what can residents do?
They could call their local congressperson.
And this is a state,
This is a state.
so they would call their state rep.
Yep.
For Oak Lawn, that's Senator Cunningham, Kelly Burke,
Yep.
Fran Hurley, or Flowers.
So everyone needs to be vocal. Social media, whatever, just get it out there, because I don't think,
No one knows about
no one
it.
knows. So it's gonna be, as soon as it passes, then it's gonna be, oh my God, the local, the Chicagoland Dealer Trade Association has got people lobbying. Obviously, the solution is looking at the RUT 50 form and changing the taxes on that, because let's face it, if something's for tax purposes, if you think about it, to pay taxes from 30 years ago on a car, wow, that doesn't make sense. So somebody in the state of Illinois was really narrow-minded when they looked at this. I'm just really kind of confused. I hate to be that way, but it's just,
Okay.
as you look at it,
Thank you
it's
very
ridiculous.
much.
Madam Mayor, can I?
Yeah, we have one more car dealer. Do you want to weigh in now or after the second dealer?
I'll weigh in now.
Okay, trustee Oliniechek.
Just so the residents know, this tax is effective January 1st, 2020. This tax is a part of a vertical capital plan passed by the General Assembly and signed by the governor. The reason why it's important now that we act on this is because they're in veto session, and there is a possibility that this could be changed. But when
Yes.
you take a look at the value and the partnership that our dealerships have in the village of Oak Lawn, we as a board need to support this change, and we as a village need to support this change. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it was hidden into a bill that had many other items in it.
Okay,
And if anyone has any questions, please come find me. I'll be very vocal about it.
thank you. And you're with Webb Chevy?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Sure.
Thank you, Tim. We have John, is it Carnavelli? Carnavelli. You're also here to talk about the vehicle tax, sir?
Yes.
Thank you for coming out this morning.
Good morning. My name's John Carnavelli from Oak Lawn Toyota. I do not live in Oak Lawn. Everything that Tim said was pretty much on point. As a dealer, it hurts the customer. If you're trading the car in, that tax difference could be $10, $15, $20 a month in a customer payment. It could deter business away from us to that private sector. And everything that Tim had said, I kind of agree, and it's hard to follow what he said. He covered everything.
Yeah, well, so if a resident is selling a car as a trade-in, most people just prefer to have the dealer kind of take their car, you know, they're gonna lose a lot of money on what they already paid. So when they bought the car, they paid taxes on the whole thing. So how are they justifying getting taxed again? Does anyone know this? Like, they're losing, yeah,
Whatever their car is worth, their cap is gonna be $10,000 of value. Their car is worth $50,000, $30,000, they're only gonna get the tax credit of $10,000.
wow. Yeah, it's unbelievable that no one knows about this. So I'd ask our press who are here to, you know, get the word out about this. And Trustee Oliniechek, Senate Bill 620, I think it is.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so, you know, maybe as a board, we should sign a letter that we send jointly to our, you know, legislators in support of changing this and supporting, you know, the hardworking taxpayers in the village of Oak Lawn who should not be double taxed.
Correct.
Any other trustees want to weigh in on this? Any other comments?
It was SB 690, I'm sorry.
690, okay, I'm sorry, 690. Senate Bill 690. So, you know, gentlemen, we appreciate you coming to tell us about this. I know it's been a big concern in the automotive industry, and it was something we heard about, but till I looked at the numbers, I didn't see how devastating this would be. You know, someone's going to lose $1,000 on a car, you know, just for nothing. I don't understand it. I just don't. So,
Thank you.
thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming out. Okay, so that's it for public comments. Excuse me. Does anyone have a conflict of interest with any item on tonight's agenda? Hearing none, we're going to move on to item 5, approval of the meeting minutes for the regular meeting minutes 2019-18, dated October 8th, 2019. May I have a motion on 5, please?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Mallow made that motion, seconded by
Second.
Trustee Desmond. Thank you. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Abstain.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Abstain.
Thank you.
Passes 402.
Thank you. Item 6 is approval of the meeting minutes for the special meeting minutes 2019-19, dated October 14th, 2019. May I have a motion, please, on item 6?
Move to approve.
Thank you. That was Trustee Phelan who made the
Second.
motion, seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Abstain.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes 501.
Thank you very much. New business by village trustees. We're going to start in District 1. Trustee Desmond?
I have no new business.
Thank you. District 2.
I just want to announce the sign up for the senior snow shoveling program begins November 1st and runs through November 30th. There's a two-way sign up. If you are a person who would like to volunteer to help a resident in your neighborhood that needs some help, you can get onto our website at the Village of Oak Lawn, or you could email seniorshovel@oaklawn/il.gov and register. And then the second part of that, if you're a senior and you are in need, you have no other ability to get your snow taken care of, no family or no other friends around to help take care of your snow shoveling, we will look for volunteers to shovel your snow when it snows 3 inches or more. And we're asking you to be patient because we do not get out until after the snow stops falling. So it could be 24 to 48 hours when we're dealing with volunteers.
Thank you. Trustee Desmond?
Sorry, I just have one thing sorry, Alex, for jumping in. St. Gerald's are going to have their annual trunk or treat in the school parking lot this Saturday from 2 to 4. So it's a great time for parents and kids. There's going to be games. Everybody's going to be in Halloween costumes. So Saturday afternoon at St. Gerald's.
And they can sign up for senior snow shoveling there? Maybe dress up as a snow shovel.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Yeah, or you could come as a senior.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. District 3.
No new business.
District 4.
No new business.
District 5.
Nothing at this time.
District 6.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just have one item. Last week, the mayor and I met with the developers at Stony Creek, which is at 111th Cicero, to get an update. Tonight's agenda has an item to sell Phase 2, which includes the Home Goods, TJ Maxx, and Barrel Club, of which I think the 3 of them have only been open 4 or 5 months combined. And I just wanted to remind people who were here at the time in 2005, and for those who are new to Oak Lawn, what used to be there was a shuttered Dominick's and a Kmart store and a busted-up parking lot and several businesses that were shuttered on 111th and Cicero. And at the time, very few people believed in the vision that we then had as a board, so much so that it was difficult to get developers out there to look at it. But in the meeting last week, we discovered that, once again, all of the businesses there, the recently opened businesses, Home Good, TJ Maxx, and Barrel Club, are far exceeding their expectations, just like Mariano's did, just like Cooper's Hawk did. So, this is sort of a self-congratulatory message to the then current board and the current board for maintaining that vision in light of some serious questions and doubts from people, and legitimately so. People don't like TIFs, they don't believe they work. But in this case, we took a parcel of land that was giving us little or no revenue and turned it into a destination location. And in the next several months, we hope to continue that effort with the Phase 3, or whatever we're calling it now, and other areas of the village. This village is a vibrant village. People do like coming here. I think we need to maintain that vision, that proactive growth. But again, I just want to bring people into the loop on this. Each and every business on there is exceeding anybody's expectations by large measures, if not number 1 in their chain or number 2 or number 3. The Barrel Club is an unproven startup, doesn't exist anywhere else, and the owners there are already being contacted by other communities about opening barrel clubs elsewhere. I just wanted to let everybody know who weren't aware, and those of us who were here and those maybe watching who are former board members, I just think it's time to let them know that this was a great success.
Thanks.
That's all I have.
Thanks, trustee. I just, also, it really makes me happy that Oak Lawnians can shop in Oak Lawn for what they want. They don't have to go outside Oak Lawn, because when you shop in your own community, that money comes back in terms of local jobs, tax revenue, and vibrancy. And it's a little thrill of mine to walk through the parking lot and see cars coming from other towns to shop in Oak Lawn. And that's really what it's about, is just creating a destination for the area. And it's exciting. So shop Oak Lawn, everyone. Thank you.
Can I just,
Trustee Ward.
thanks, Tom, for that update. It is a great, successful development over there, and it's only going to get better as time goes on. Well, I think that it's necessary to report that a similar development is occurring at 95th and Pulaski. It hasn't been proven yet, but it wasn't done with any TIF or taxpayer money, and hopefully it'll be just as successful as what you and the previous board and this board did for 111th and Cicero.
Thank you. I have no doubt of that. Thank you very much. I'd like to just welcome Chief to the dais up in the big chair. Thank you for stepping up. It's been a challenging week for you. I just want to turn the mic over to you, sir. Village Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Board. I want to thank everybody, public included, but especially the board for kind of working with me this past week and a few days. Everybody's understood where we're at. We're keeping the ship going in the water, especially the staff. I couldn't do this without the staff. The staff has been spectacular, as well as our village attorneys. So thank you very much. We're moving ahead and positive.
Thank you very much, Chief. We have a consent agenda, item 9. All items on the consent agenda are routine or have been brought forward at the direction of the Board of Trustees and will be enacted with one motion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. 9A is ordinance 192170, an ordinance approving the sale of Phase 2 north parcel of the Stony Creek Promenade located at 111th and Laverne Avenue. B is ordinance 192171, an ordinance amending Title 6, Chapter 14, Article A, entitled Development and Special Flood Hazard Areas. C is ordinance 192172, an ordinance authorizing the sale of 3 surplus vehicles that have reached a useful lifespan. D is ordinance 192173, an ordinance granting a special use permit for a tattoo business at 9723 Southwest Highway. Brandon Blocker, or Blacher, is the petitioner in, E is Resolution 192175, a resolution approving an amendment to a master supply agreement with MC Squared Energy Services, LLC, pertaining to electricity supply services. F is Resolution 192176, a resolution approving an agreement between the Village of Oak Lawn and the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police representing Oak Lawn Police Supervisors. G is Resolution 192177, a resolution authorizing the execution of a temporary construction and permanent utility easement located at 6301 West 101st Street, Chicago Ridge, Illinois. H is Resolution 192178, a resolution authorizing the village attorney to apply to the Circuit Court of Cook County for an order authorizing the demolition of a dangerous and abandoned building located at 9421 South 55th Avenue. May I have a motion, please, on item 9?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. I'm going to give that to Trustee Vorder, seconded by Trustee Mallow. Any discussion, gentlemen?
I'd like 2 items removed.
Yes, sir.
B as in boy and E as in Edward.
Okay, we have a request to remove B like boy, E like Edward. Any other discussion?
I'd like to remove D.
D like David?
D like David.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, we are voting on everything in item 9 except B like boy, D like David, E like Edward. A motion on, let's call that vote, please. Excuse me.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, B is ordinance 192171, an ordinance amending Title 6, Chapter 14, Article A, entitled Development of Special Flood Hazard Areas. May I have a motion on 9B like boy?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Mallow made that motion. Second, please.
Second.
Trustee Oliniechek, any discussion? Trustee Mallow? Oh, no, this was Trustee Phelan. Did you care to discuss this?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
This is regarding FEMA's new, I thought I saw Jack here. Jack's here, right?
Right there. Yeah.
The floodplain issue. And that's usually something done by bigger regional authorities than us. But as you know, and Mayor knows, and Trustee Stalker knows, we've been drilling down on the flooding issue pretty significantly recently. And the survey that I put out now has about 1,000 responses. And, you know, when you plot them against where the people live, that's probably more like 4,000 because not everybody has email. So if you figure 2 or 3 people around a block. And I just didn't know if they consult with us on that or if we should have that kind of level of input because that's a huge issue for people. And I just was, I mean, it's a lengthy document.
Jack, can you please come to a microphone, either up at the podium or here, just so residents watching at home can hear you? Thank you.
is this applies to construction, the regulations, if you're going to build in the floodplain. So as far as your issue, it's a little bit different.
Except when you're a homeowner and you go to get a mortgage, you have to have proof of flooding insurance if you are in a floodplain, and if you don't, you could be left hanging, high and dry.
Right. The lenders will require you to have floodplain insurance. By us following the law, you get better premiums, being a part of the National Flood Insurance Program.
So, for example, when you say business, I mean, some things are contiguous, residential to business. We have construction 104th and Kedvale, that's not necessarily business, but it's village. I just saw this and thought to myself, are we missing an opportunity here for the level of input that we can provide, or are you saying it's completely separate?
Well, this is, I would say it's very separate, because this is just regulating how you build in the floodplain. You're going to build a house in the floodplain, what you have to do as far as flood protection, the basement, the elevation, all those things.
Related to the actual floodplains that exist.
Yeah, it's not going to affect the some of the projects we want to work on. It's not going to affect that.
Very good. Thanks, Jack.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on item B?
Yeah, I do have one question.
Trustee Desmond.
For Jack. So, Jack, what will change? I mean, previously, if you wanted to build a house in a floodplain, you couldn't put in a basement.
This is mostly language changes to bring it in line with what they call their model ordinance, the state model ordinance, so that all the communities have consistent, structure of the ordinance. So what you just said is still true. The rules about basements don't change. The rules about how much detention you have to provide if you fill in the floodplain, that doesn't change. Really, there's not, in terms of what you have to do when you build, not much is changing.
So what has changed?
Just mostly the language. It's mostly semantics. Mostly, I think what they want is consistency across the state as far as ordinances, so that when builders go, that they see basically the same FEMA floodplain ordinance.
From one municipality to the next. And this is coming from who? Army Corps of
It's
Engineers?
coming from FEMA and Illinois Department of Natural Resources.
Thank you. Trustee Stalker next, and then Trustee Warder.
Yeah, this was explained in a meeting that we had with MWRD a couple of weeks ago. They brought the subject up and explained that this is just bringing us into alignment with current legislation.
Trustee Warder.
Yeah, over the years, I've seen these floodplains expand. There is no expansion.
No, this doesn't change the hydraulics or the model that goes into the floodplain. It doesn't change that.
Thank you.
Okay, let's call the vote, please, on item 9B like boy.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 9D, ordinance 1921-73, an ordinance granting a special use permit for a tattoo business at 9723 Southwest Highway. Brandon Blaker is the petitioner. May I have a motion on 9D, please?
Motion approved.
Thank you. Trustee Mallow made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Desmond. Any discussion? Trustee Mallow?
Yeah, I just wanted to is Brandon here? Brandon, can you come up? Thanks.
Hi, Brandon. If you could state your name, please, before you start speaking, just for the minutes. Thanks.
My name is Brandon Blacher.
Blacher, I'm sorry I butchered that.
No,
And a
it's fine.
simple
That's- you
name
said
I
it right
screw up. Thank you.
I
Trustee
just
Mallow.
wanted to bring Brendan up. I think this is something that's long past due for Oak Lawn. I think a tattoo parlor in our town. I think years past, it's been something of a misnomer, but I think today, in today's day and age, it's something good. So it's artistry.
It's elevated to an art form.
Absolutely. Everywhere you go, you find somebody that's got
Not here.
tattoos. So, I did want to bring it off because I think it's better than a consent agenda type item, and just to show that this is something that I approve of for our town, I approve of for my district.
Brandon, can you tell us about your business?
Well, really, like last time I was here, I'm just open to any questions. I know there's a lot of.
So the people up here aren't the same ones you talked to before?
No, absolutely. I remember that
Yeah.
for the most part. The business is going to be a tattoo studio. It's a little bit of a difference between that and a shop. A shop is operating with the public more. You can walk in whenever you want, get whatever you want, whereas the
Right.
studio is a little bit more private.
Okay.
It's focused on larger scale pieces where you see sleeves, portraits, etc. Um, it'll have limited open times as far as for operation, but it'll be open mainly for consultations where people will come in and discuss their ideas. But it's going to be relatively simple. It's going to be somewhat light traffic, simply
Okay.
because we do work on bigger pieces, so it isn't like a back and forth open, back and forth open.
Okay, thank you. And this is Southwest Highway 9723. What businesses are near there?
There is a barber shop like a couple doors down.
Okay, very good. Got it. Yeah. Trustee Warder.
Yeah, Sandy, this, as I understand it, over the many years I've been here, will be the first tattoo parlor in the village of Oak Lawn. And while I agree with Paul, this has become an art and it's much more common and acceptable than it was in my youth. I am somewhat concerned about expansion of this types of business throughout the village. I see Chicago Ridge has limited the number of parlors that can exist
Yes.
in the community.
Sorry.
Can the village of Oak Lawn do something similar? I guess this is an attorney, question for the attorney.
Counsel?
Sure, you know, so the short answer is yes, but, Terry, and we'll take a look at it and get back to you. I know there has been other discussions of other places in the village where I know the village manager has, dissuaded them or persuaded them to look elsewhere, and not because of anything, but just because it's our main retail corridor, things like that, so.
Right,
But we can
right.
take a look at those things, limiting the number and.
Right. Location is crucial,
Right.
and this is a good location for this first-time business. However, I am concerned about expansion.
Trustee Phelan, then Trustee Desmond.
Yes, Brennan, just out of curiosity, what's the range of prices from the most basic tattoo to that artwork you're referencing?
All right, so with tattoos, it has a minimum. So no matter what you come in, you're gonna pay that minimum. It covers the bare essentials of what it needs to get like the smallest tattoo. So it can go anywhere between $60 to $100, depending on the shop you go to. Because we want to focus more on larger pieces, the prices are going to be a bit higher. So the minimum will be $100 because the equipment we use is the best in the business. And then as far as the larger pieces, it's more timed. So whereas you would essentially think that you would come in and pay $200 for a portrait, for example, which is absurd, you wouldn't. But you would actually pay per the hour. So if you come in and you say, I want to get I want to get a portrait of my daughter's face, all right, depending on how many hours that is, it could be $120 an hour, it could be $150 an hour, it could be $200 an hour, depending on the artist and how well they do their job. So essentially, it very much varies, to be completely honest with you.
And is that part of our retail? I mean, how do we, the village, get compensated on these types of shops? Because it's new, do we even know? And if you don't, that's fine.
I don't think there's a sales tax about that, that's your question.
Service,
It's a
service.
This is considered service only.
Is not,
Right.
yeah.
And that's why, to Terry's point, limiting them,
Like haircuts.
Like
yeah,
haircuts.
yeah.
Good point.
So, okay, Trustee Desmond.
Yeah, you said you would have limited opening times?
Yes.
What are they?
All right, so currently I'm still in the field of trying to determine what's the best options. It's going to be by appointment only, predominantly. So basically, I'm considering opening it up from 2 p.m. to around 9 or 10 p.m., where anybody can come in. Normally, people getting out of work around that time, so it's a little bit more flexible for them. They can come in, they can consult, ask any questions, and get pricing and set an appointment for a future date. But as far as operating times, it'll be strictly by appointment. So normally that'll be ranging depending on the artist's personal schedule.
And I guess that's a question for you, Paul. I mean, does he need to list those times when applying for a business license? Or do we need to set a limit? I mean, do we need to set a closing time, standard closing time, if we're expecting more of these?
I don't,
I don't think we've done it in the past. I mean, so.
Well, again, like Terry said, this is the first one.
So, if I may interject a little. So normally with most shops, it is a open and close situation. But what happens is almost like, I don't want to say every business, but like I'm gonna say more towards barbershop business. You may have people that stay a little bit longer than the actual hours on the door, but from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., anytime after or before that, the doors have to be locked, just for security reasons.
Yeah, but I think we still need to set a closing time. No, you can't have people, customers showing up at 3 a.m.
Oh, no.
The tavern's closed.
So that's why,
How many of those have been regretted?
absolutely. So that's why you have the time where it opens and it closes.
Counsel, please, counsel.
Just say, if you turn
Pay anything?
on the application, he's put in there that he's gonna be open from 2 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday, so he's already limited his hours.
Orchards are like 8.
So, I mean, if you want to set a more rigorous standard, we can look at, when we look at limiting the number of tattoo parlors, we can look at limiting their hours or making something like that, Tim, if you want me to.
I
But
like
right
that.
here on this application, it's Tuesday through Saturday, 2 to 9. That's what he's put on his application.
And can I just add something really quick? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that anybody can walk in anytime they want, of course. What I mean is if a person comes in at 5 o'clock p.m., if their appointment is at 5 o'clock p.m., if they're timed there, if they're getting tattooed, me stopping at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m., and it's not a complete work, then I would have to go past that time. But by at 9 o'clock, nobody else can come in that shop. That's what I mean. So technically, it'd be closed to the public by that.
Right. The last appointments when yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Trustee Mello, anything you wanted to say?
No, I thank you for
So-
bringing this here, and good luck to you.
Mayor, one more question.
Yes, trustee.
Brandy, are you experienced in this business? You have any other shops?
No, I don't own any shops, but I worked at so many.
So this is your first venture into private
Yes,
business
sir.
and tattoo business?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If this gets passed, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Will you be the only artist at that location?
No, it'll be me, and I'm gonna hire 2 other ones.
Okay.
And then I'll have a guest spot open. So basically, any artist that wants to fly in and do some work and then leave,
Okay.
by all means, as long as they
Okay.
to the regulations.
Okay, very good. We're going to call the vote, please, on 9D like David.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Congratulations, Brandon. Item 9E is Resolution 192175, a resolution approving an amendment to a master supply agreement with MC Squared Energy Services LLC pertaining to electricity supply services. May I have a motion on 9E, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Oliniechek made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Mallow. Any discussion here?
Yes, Mayor, thank you.
Phelan?
As I said in an email last night, when Brian noticed there was a document missing on another submission, the submission sheet referenced a summarized in the attached update, and the only thing I have in my stapled packet is resolution and agreement. And that's, I want to make sure that I'm not missing something. There's some summary. Okay. So, and then can we just, is there any material change to since the last time it was before us?
In discussing with Trustee Mallow, original program was for $200,000 over 2 years. We went back to $100,000 over 1 year. I have Arnie, do you want to go to the podium, Arnie? You can explain one of the, not concerns, but one of the discussions I had with Trustee Mallow is that as MC Squared put this program in place, the demand wasn't, the number of accounts that they got wasn't quite as high. So the hope is that we can get some of those to come back to MC Squared. So, Arnie, maybe you can expand on that.
Arnie Schrammel from Progressive Energy Group. So just to back up a little bit, Illinois, this spring session, and it was known it was going to start last fall, has significantly changed the laws around marketing to residential customers for electric supply service. In a nutshell, they've made it much more restrictive, much more onerous on the electric suppliers because there was a lot of bad actors in place. They also gave the Illinois Commerce Commission a little bit more power to go after those bad actors, and the Illinois Commerce Commission has now. They've entered settlements with 3 different electric suppliers, and 2 additional ones are in investigation. But what a lot of these programs were loss leader programs, so customers were saving money from anywhere from 3 to 4 months, but then they were getting transferred into other programs that were significantly higher than ComEd. But there was a lot of marketing suppliers, not just Oak Lawn, but all over the state. Like even communities that didn't have aggregations had a big ramp up of customers who were switching to suppliers. And again, they were saving money, most of those programs, 3 or 4 months. But then if they didn't physically get out of those programs, they're paying much higher. So when I was in this discussion with Brian, you said maybe a 1-year program is better because one of the aspects of the new law is there's no automatic renewal language in any of those supplier contracts. So after that contract runs a year, if the resident who is in that contract doesn't like physically sign another document, they revert back to ComEd. And thus, they would be open again for the Oaklawn aggregation program after that 1 year. So in discussion with Brian and MC Squared kind of upped their civic contribution to make it equal, $100,000 for 1 year, $200,000 for 2 years. It sounded like a better option.
So if I could layer into this, and part of the reason I think Trustee Mallow articulated pretty well is, you know, I don't know how many calls we all get, but in the realm of this, I get more calls about, is this a scam? Right? Because it's not clear, and like you said, there's several people saying, you know, I got another letter, and is this it? And so, and then of course, if you're reading the paper, every third politician in Illinois is a ComEd lobbyist every time you pick it up. So it's probably not lost on anybody that the efforts to push this back to ComEd is significant. Is there anything we can do as a village, to the extent there's legitimate savings for our residents by going with you or anybody else, to make it more clear, to differentiate? I think you said it's more onerous in terms of the marketing. If we were to, and I don't know if the attorneys have an opinion on this, if we could make it clear, and certainly in our next Oaklawn Matters, we can maybe devote a page to this. But I don't know, Arnie, if we're seeing people falling off or opting out, and it's probably based on, you know, ignorance or misinformation, I mean, is that a fair assessment on your point?
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the marketing programs, unfortunately, they were actually saving residents money for 3 or 4 months, but then they'd move them up. Now, the program, you know, Oaklawn is in right now is actually not a savings program. It's exactly the same price as ComEd. It moves up or down, whatever ComEd's price does. The 2 aspects it does get the village, though, is 100% green, wind, Midwest green energy. Gets the village back to the EPA partnership program. And 3, there's a civic contribution that the village can use for whatever purpose it deems necessary. But unlike the program 4, 5, 6 years ago that actually was saving residents a couple $100 a year, that's not this program. This program just actually mirrors whatever ComEd's price is. If it goes up a little, this price goes up. If it goes down, it goes down.
So that's another aspect of educating, right? So you're no worse off by going in this program, but here's how the village benefits. So we'd like you or encourage you, unless it's prohibited from us encouraging people.
Yeah. Trustee Oliniechek.
Yeah, thank you. When this program first started out, we partnered with MC Squared. They were supposed to have educational sessions, which you did. You were supposed to make a public video, which was supposed to go on to our regular station that we have all the public information on. I do believe you did do that?
Yeah, MC Squared did that, yes.
Right. And then there was supposed to be on our website information that went out there. So as far as educating, Tom, I agree with you 100% that the education part is very big, but as Arnie has said, there are people that literally go to residents' doors on a daily basis and get them to switch because it's the old, you know, for 3 months you're going to save money, or you get a $500 Visa card, and then you're locked in for a 2-year. After the 3rd month, your prices just start to escalate. So the safest thing that I tell residents is that this program is equal to what you would get from ComEd. And the big thing is, when energy aggregation first started out, wasn't it because ComEd had long-term contracts and they couldn't lower their prices?
Yeah, that's exactly the point, Trustee. When this first started out and the savings were a couple $100, ComEd was in a bunch of long-term contracts, and the market went down, and then the village got in a program that was significant.
What long-term contracts was ComEd in?
So I'm going to get,
ComEd is a generation company.
yeah.
Please explain that to me.
So if you could let him answer that, thank you.
So I'm going to get into some weeds now. ComEd is actually not a generation company anymore. They're only an electric distribution company. Their sister company, Exelon Nuclear, does produce electricity. ComEd actually does not enter in contracts to buy electricity anymore. There was a law passed in 2007 where the Illinois Power Agency now enters into contracts on behalf of Ameren and ComEd. So the Illinois Power Agency actually enters into these contracts and then hands them over to ComEd to implement. So ComEd, technically, when you look at the wholesale market, does not buy power on behalf of their residents.
That's incorrect. They do buy power. Now, let me explain to you that aggregation is nothing more than a financial instrument, and that's why it was so ripe for people who take advantage of people in the past. They've been found out. There is probably no better way to get power than from a large company like ComEd that has a regulated distribution system, and they buy power at some of the best prices. The only advantage of your aggregation program is that the village gets money which the taxpayers don't have to replace.
Trustee Oliniechek.
There's the advantage.
Well, that may be true now, but back when we first started it, ComEd, this is fact, ComEd's rates were some of the highest rates that were out there, and we were able to come in below ComEd's rates, however it happened. You're the expert on energy. I'm only telling you how that happened, and ComEd was not able to meet the market rate, and then they all of a sudden, after a period of time, were able to come back down. So right now, ComEd's rate is the best market rate that I can see out there. And I would not disagree with that, but back when we started this whole thing, going back many years ago, ComEd's rate was considerably higher than what we were able to get through energy aggregation.
Let's live in today.
Well, I do like.
I was just trying to
the-
explain why we're at where we're at and what we're trying to do for the residents, because this green energy, the wind energy that is being provided, also helps us meet certain EPA regulations, which helps us apply for grants. This is why it's good for the residents of the village of Oak Lawn that we get involved in it, so that way we can continue to apply for grants and continue to get grants based off of it.
I just want the reasons talked about.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask the board not to talk. If you want to talk, I'll let you talk, but don't talk over each other, and let's try to.
And
business.
don't cut off people that are in the middle of a sentence.
Thank you. Trustee Phelan, then Trustee Vorder.
Yeah, so, clearly there here is a benefit to an aggregation aspect. And we can defend ComEd or not. The reality is, if you're reading the paper, they're paying so much money to lobbyists who are constantly in Springfield, near monopoly for years, ripe for some sort of disruptor to come in and leverage things on behalf of taxpayers, to which ComEd responded, which everybody predicted, even you, Arnie. He's like, hey, listen, and that's a good thing. Let's reserve judgment on who you love or don't love in this particular, drama. The reality is, even if today you're saying that whatever program is out there is net neutral to the individual resident, if there's still extra benefit on top of that you're able to leverage and get back to the village, including the green initiatives and this other contribution, clearly there's something there. And I like that disruptors exist when monopoly powers have the market. I think that's a good thing. So, it's not a judgment for or against, but to the extent that we can keep companies, monopolies, utilities honest with disruptors, I think it's a good thing. But I will go back to one other point, to Alex's point. When this program first started, and was it 4 or 5 years ago? Oak Lawn has averaged between 2,000 and 3,000 real estate transactions a year for the last 5 years. That's 10, 12,000 units turning over. And a lot of them, most of them condos, if no surprise, the element of condo living. But at the end of the day, you're talking about, a significant portion of our residents have turned over since this program started. So I think in terms of, if we're going to keep this going, we need to keep some sort of clear education aspect going. Can't be, we did a video 4 years ago and we rolled something out 4 years ago. And that's where we can maybe partner with you to make it better.
Great. Trustee Vorder.
Yeah, we can put the message out to the public, and we do. And you guys have done a good job, but, you can lead a horse to water, they don't necessarily drink it. And I get questions all the time on this program. It's pretty simple for me, understanding it, to explain it to the people, why they may want to go with this particular program despite any savings, and to be leery, okay, of companies trying to sell you. So we need to keep selling it. We need to keep pushing the message that this is the way to go. And we have done our homework to support this, but I do think every one of us trustees are going to get asked questions from time to time from the public that just hasn't
Well,
drank
and
water.
to trustee Olenich's point, as part of the approval last year, he brought this to me and said, can we just have a communication element to this, which was to have, as he said, 4, what do you call them, town hall meetings. We went to the farmer's market. I realize Terry's point is that people can be led to water and won't drink, but we've tried to do the best we can, that the partnership with the village is between the village and MC Squared and Progressive, and those are the entities. So maybe Tom's point about putting it in the next newsletter, whatever we have to do, we'll do.
Thank you. Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
And Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Arnie, for coming to answer our questions. I appreciate it. Item 10, Resolution 1921-79, a resolution waiving the competitive bidding requirements and authorizing the purchase of one 2019 Ford F-150. May I have a motion on 10, please? Trustee Oliniechek made that motion.
Second.
Second, that was Trustee Stalker?
Order.
Trustee Vorder, thank you. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. Resolution 1921-80 is item 11, a resolution waiving the competitive bidding requirements and authorizing the purchase of one 2019 Ford F-250 XL. May I have a motion on 11? Thank you, Trustee Oliniechek made that motion. Seconded by Trustee Stalker. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 12, Village Clerk's Report. Jane.
Okay. Approval of semi-monthly disbursements, number 2019-20D, dated October 22nd, 2019, in the amount of $1,511,658.83.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please, on 12A?
Motion to approve it.
Thank you, Trustee Vorder. Any second?
Second.
Trustee Stalker is our second. Thank you. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek? Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
One more thing, Mayor.
Sure.
Last week, I attended the Illinois Municipal Clerks Conference in Springfield for continuing education, and I really learned a lot, and I brought it back to Oak Lawn. But I would like to thank the board for always supporting me in attendance. It means a lot, so it means a lot for our community. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jane. Very good. Item 13, Village President's Report. I just want to wish the residents a safe trick-or-treating season. Please have fun, but do it safely.
Mayor, may I interrupt 1 minute? Very important issue. Brian pointed out, and I forgot to bring it up, in the consent agenda,
It's brief. Just give Terry an option. Yes, I'm sorry.
that's okay, in the consent agenda, item A, and if I were wearing my glasses on my head, it says item, sale of Phase 2, it should be 2B.
Okay. Council?
Hold on.
Item A, consent agenda.
It's fine on the ordinance. We're fine.
Okay, on the
On the
ordinance.
ordinance, it's correct.
Maybe Jane corrected for the minutes. 2B.
Okay, well,
not
as
Phase
long as
2,
it's on the ordinance, sure.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 14, Executive Session 2019-10 for the purpose of discussing, number 1, information regarding the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the village. May I have a motion, please, on item 14?
Motion approved.
Thank you, Trustee Vorder made that motion, seconded by
Second.
Trustee Stalker. Thank you. Any discussion? Call the vote, please.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Trustee Mallow?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We're going to move into executive session now. Thank you, everyone.